Hi, I'm Simon and welcome to vlog number 35. I know, what a shock. Actually, a small amount of time between one vlog and another. It's not a year, only a couple of weeks. So yes, I'm quite surprised to have this video up, probably as much as you are. Well, what have I got to talk about today? I'm going to start talking about you guys. I'd like to say thank you so much to all of you who watched the last video, and especially to those of you that left comments. It was really nice to see some familiar names of people who I know have been watching this channel since, well, the very beginning. And thank you again for all of the nice comments that you left. I mean, it was great to hear that people wanted to see me back on YouTube. I've got to say I'm really happy to be back making YouTube videos again, and it's definitely going well. I can't, I'm not a prophet, so I can't know the future for sure, but my intention is to continue making videos in the new year. I don't think I'm going to have time for another video before Christmas, but in the new year I've got lots of ideas for stuff I want to put up on this channel. I was very happy to see that the last video, as of today, the 7th of December, has got about 120 views, which is really nice. And I think there were maybe 10 comments that have been left, which is nice as well. But in the new year, I'm hoping to get back to where my channel was at the dizzying heights of having about 200 views per video and maybe about 20 comments. I think I was really happy with that. So I want to get a little bit more interaction with the YouTube gaming community, because I do long for those days of the early 2010s when I started. God, has it been that long? I suppose technically I did start this channel in 2009, and maybe it was about 2010 when I really started making videos. 2011, I suppose, when I started getting subscribers. So going back to that sort of time, it's a very exciting time for me. I really enjoyed YouTube back then, and I hope to rekindle that once more. So thanks to you, and yeah, as I said in your comments, I'd just like to say and confirm that I am in fact not a vampire. So I think that was Distorted Alliance who asked that question. I am actually aging. There isn't a painting of me locked away in a room somewhere that is getting older by the day. No, I'm not Dorian Gray. In fact, you can probably see there are a few lines. My hair's thinning, skin's not as good as it once was, so yes, I am getting older. But maybe not as old as some 43-year-olds look. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, enough about me and about you. Gaming, that's why you came here, and you probably saw from the title of the video, a new gaming system. And well, it's technically new as in it has been released quite recently, and it's a recent purchase for me, but it's a new version of something that was that had been released. That's not good grammar. That was released many years ago, and that I have had for, well, since it first came out. What is it? Well, it's this. I know what you're thinking. That's not a games machine, that's a tablet. Yes, it is an iPad Pro 12.9 inch, and I like to play games on it. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about this and why I think it's such a great little system and why I'm really happy with this purchase. I mean, let's first talk about some of the things it does besides gaming, because this and obviously tablets like this are so multifunctional that I guess if you were someone who was really strapped for space, that space was a premium for you, you lived in a small apartment by yourself, this kind of thing could essentially be your entertainment center. I mean, it's quite a big screen, you know, like a reasonable laptop size screen. You can use it for watching videos. You can listen to music on it. I mean, the sound quality on this is surprisingly good for a tablet. Quite often when I'm making breakfast in the morning, I'll set this up on the side. Sometimes I watch YouTube videos. Other times listen to a bit of music in my iTunes library. And with my older iPad, my iPad Air 9.7, that one, sometimes I struggled a bit to hear what people are saying. For example, if I was cooking breakfast, whereas this is quite a bit louder. I'll do a little bit of a comparison later when we get to the gaming, so you can hear the difference between the two of them. But even at the loudest volume, the quality of the sound is fantastic. It doesn't distort. Even in quite a large room like this, I've got a large living room, kitchen, diner, and I can put this thing down and it, you know, comfortably fills the room. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to replace my wife's portable Bose SoundLink Mini 2 or 3, I'm not sure which model it is, but the sound quality on that thing for the size of it is absolutely fantastic. And yes, this is not a patch on that, but very nice sound quality. What else? Well, I mean, you've got a camera on this thing. I mean, let's have a look. I'm shooting here in 1080p 60. I mean, it can shoot at 4K, but I'm shooting this at 1080p 60 on the camera. So I thought I'd, you know, stick to the same here. But I think it's a pretty nice video quality for a tablet. And then we've also got hidden behind the flap here, there is another camera. So I'll stop this and switch and start on here so we can see. Yeah, I mean, the quality of this image, I can actually see it there in the flip out screen on the camera, that it's fairly good. I mean, I suppose I could even film my YouTube videos on this, but I prefer the creativity of a DSLR or a mirrorless proper camera. The creativity, what am I talking about? The functionality of it, or the ability to be more creative with it. But yeah, this is quite a nice little camera that it's got. I'll just cover up the flap because I don't want to get my finger on that. But yeah, it's, you know, not another additional function. I'm not saying it's something that I would want as my main camera, but you know, in a push, it's pretty good. And of course, it's got the depth sensing cameras, which it uses for Face ID. So I can protect the iPad with my face. You know, you can use it to unlock the camera, unlock the iPad. So it's a security feature. Also, it can use that camera to take photos and blur the background so it looks like you're shooting at a much lower f-stop or a much larger aperture than the camera on here actually is. And all right, it's not going to fool an expert, but you know, at a glance, it looks quite authentic. So yeah, quite a lot of features here. One of the others is the pencil. This is an additional cost at about £120. So it might seem like a lot of money, where I think some other tablets, the stylus comes with it, but this is a very good one. And well, I'm not much of an artist, but as you can see from the video footage here, I've drawn, doodled and scribbled on this, but the number of brushes, I mean, I had to pay £10 extra to get this app called Procreate, but the functionality of it is amazing, and I think with a bit of practice, I might actually become fairly competent at drawing, and it actually encourages it. Having the pencil here, I find doodling quite relaxing, and that doodling can turn into sketching, and one day maybe that sketching will turn into digital painting. So yeah, and I do like the fact that the pencil magnetically clips on the top and charges through the iPad as well. So very, very cool, really nice. But well, let's get to gaming, because one of the things that surprised me is how capable this is as an actual games machine. And in the last video, I spoke about the game PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Well, there's a mobile version of it on the iPad, and you can see it here in the footage that, all right, it's not going to pass for the PC version. It might be kind of comparable at ultra settings on here to what it is at low settings on the PC, but they've managed to pack in the full game, or at least, you know, kind of the feature set of the whole game onto a mobile version. I've got to admit I'm terrible at it, and I really don't enjoy the touch controls on the iPad, but they've actually added some features to this that they don't have on the full version, which make the game a bit easier to play, especially when it comes to inventory management, that it will pick up guns for you. It will add attachments to your weapons when you select them, when you choose to pick up those attachments. It will automatically pick up whatever amount of bullets you choose. You can set that in the menu. So that ease of use, ease of life functionality is really, really good. And so it goes to show that you can make some really good games on mobile systems. But where I think this kind of form factor shines is in strategy games. And in the last video, I talked about the VR game Castle Must Be Mine, and how it's basically Kingdom Rush in VR. Well, Kingdom Rush is a game that I still love to play on the iPad, and you can see here from the video the comparison between this iPad and my older iPad Air 9.7 inch, which I've had for more than 4 years. I bought that in 2014, the summer of 2014, just before leaving China. And I know it's a bit beat up, there's a massive crack through the screen, but it still works. And you can see the difference in the image quality. I've got both of the screens set to maximum brightness, and as you can see, the vibrancy of the color, the brightness of the Pro screen is much higher. The iPad Air looks washed out in comparison. Also, the sound quality is so much better, as I mentioned before. The volume and the clarity of the sound that's coming through on the iPad Pro. As you can see, I'm using my lapel mic that I've got on today, and I'm holding it the same sort of distance from the iPads as I am here from my mouth. And you can hopefully appreciate the difference, although you won't be able to pick up the true quality of the sound, at least the loudness, the difference in the volume is quite clear. Another game that I absolutely love and prefer on tablets to playing on a PC is the game FTL, Faster Than Light. I've spoken about this before because it's one of my favourite games of all time, and it's even better on the iPad Pro. The resolution is much higher, so although it's quite simplistic graphics, they're sharper. The vibrancy of the colours make things pop. The viewing angles, although not as good as you might get on an OLED screen, are really quite good on this. So even when this is kind of laying flat down on a surface, it still looks really vibrant. And I remember, I think it was on that game, the star field in the background, I actually thought there was some dust on the screen because it was so sharp when I first played it. It was a weird moment to realise how crisp the screen actually is. So yes, very, very happy with this. And there's one other thing, the only disappointing factor that I'd lastly like to talk about regarding the iPad Pro, and it's not even a fault particularly of the iPad Pro per se, but the operating system it's running, which I believe is iOS 12. Some of the games I've had since the days of my original iPad, the very first iPad, which I bought on the second day, the second day of its launch in the UK. The first game I ever bought for it was Flight Control, and I still like to play that game on my old iPad, but unfortunately it doesn't work on this because it's not compatible with the new version of iOS. So that's a bit of a shame. Also, Speedball. I think it's it is Speedball 2, but I think it's called Speedball Evolution on the iPad. Fantastic game. I mean, Speedball 2 is amazing on any system, but yeah, it doesn't work on the newer iPad operating system, and I don't think the developers of either of those games are going to go back and update them, but you never know. You never know. It would be nice to be able to play both of them on here, but I'm sure there will be other exciting and interesting mobile games that I'll be playing over the coming years on this thing. I can quite easily foresee I'll be using this for the next 5 years before I consider an iPad upgrade. So very, very happy with that. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about is actually the camera that I'm filming this on today. And I spoke in the last video about my Panasonic G7 and how I wasn't happy with it, particularly with its autofocus capabilities. And I wasn't expecting to upgrade quite yet, and to be honest, you might consider this to be a side grade or maybe even a downgrade, because this camera doesn't shoot at 4K, whereas the other one does, but the autofocus system on this camera is much, much better. So what I decided to opt for was the Canon EOS 200D, and this is one of Canon's lowest level DSLR cameras. But after watching a video from a photography YouTuber called James Heaton, I was surprised by how many features this entry-level DSLR has that much more expensive Canon cameras also have. And a lot of them are features that I really want. A flip-out articulating touchscreen, which means I can frame my shots quite easily. It's got a really good autofocus system, a continuous autofocus face tracking system that uses Canon's dual pixel AF. In fact, well, let's test that now. So sitting here, I can set the camera up, come and sit down, and within a couple of seconds it will track on my face. And then if I run around to the other side of the couch back here, hello, I can see that it's tracking my face on the screen, and hopefully it's pulled focus over here. And then when I run back over here and sit down, within a second, it should be, hopefully, back on my face again. So that's such a useful feature for someone who's a one-man crew. But the other thing I really like about it is the price. I managed to pick this up for about £350 with the kit lens. In fact, I don't think you can even buy it as body only because it's such a cheap set. But compared to the UK, I checked on amazon.co.uk and it was still about £520. Now, that's not to say that in Black Friday or Cyber Monday there might well have been better deals that might have even put it lower than £350. But we had Black Friday deals here on souk.com where I bought this, which is, I guess technically it's Amazon. I mean, we don't have Amazon here, but Amazon owns Souk now. They bought it last year. But that was just an offer I guess I could have got any day of the week. So yeah, really, really happy with it so far. I mean, obviously you can see the footage. I haven't watched this back, obviously. So let me know what you think compared to last week's video. Is this as good? Because if it is as good and I can use the autofocus that this has got, then I'm really happy. Also, it takes my lens from my Canon 60D that I've had since, God, what would it have been, 2011, since the early days of this channel. I mean, I started shooting on a JVC HD30, I think it was called, a little camcorder, and then after a couple of videos I decided I really wanted to get into YouTubing, so I spent quite a lot of money buying a 60D and this Sigma lens, which I think was about £400 back then. So I'm really happy that this 30mm prime lens works on this camera. But yeah, I think I did a little bit of test shooting with it yesterday and I was pretty happy with that. So as long as it holds up, yeah, I think I'm going to be keeping this for a little while, and even if I sell it in a year's time, I think I'll be able to get a reasonable enough price for it. So that just about brings me to the end of this video. I will be definitely making more YouTube videos, but nothing much in the next few weeks. I'm going to be busy over the Christmas period, but in the new year, I've got a lot of ideas. I want to grow the channel. Well, not grow the channel, no. I want to get the channel back to where it was when I first started making YouTube videos. So, 200 views, about 20 comments per video, sort of consistently at that level is where I would like to be. So yeah, let's hope I can achieve that, because I do want to get more involved in YouTube. I've got a lot of ideas of videos that I want to make. So, well, let's see if that actually happens, because I've had grandiose ideas in the past for this channel and they haven't come to fruition. So maybe 2019 will be the year. So thank you very much for watching this long. I hope you're happier that it's quite a bit shorter than the last video that I made. But from my living room to wherever you are, this is Simon signing off. Bye-bye.